Good afternoon. Panel. So I really first want to thank uh, Xposure for inviting me to make these speaks on the behalf of the colleague and the friend from African continent. So I will briefly try to present you uh, what we can call African photography. Even this word is not so easy to explain. And I will just start by the first generation. What people have to know that the African photography, I can say it was really start by the event that in Bamako was come in the 1994. It was started by some Malian photographer and some French photographer. I could say the name like Françoise Huguet, and she started a discussion with the Malian photographer, and they feel that the sky color of Bamako is very unique. For the photographer, the light is very important. And that's one of the reasons they chose to make this first edition, the Rencontres in Bamako. And why I start this? Because it's from that we can say most of the photographers who are very well known are all be successful or well start the journey in Bamako events. So, for example, I will start with Seydou Keita that you see behind. This kind of photo that he made by Seydou Keita is one of the most famous photographer. The story of Seydou Keita also, there was one exhibition in New York, and there was say this, they show his photo, and there was say anonymous author from Mali. No one was know who he was, this photographer. And some collectors start to try to investigate, to see, to make a research in Bamako, and they come, and finally they find him. So that's the reason, if you go to the booth here, we try to set up one kind of studio. People think that Seydou Keita is one of like a magician in photo because he try always to bring new stuff in this photography. In this image, we see different kind of photography. For example, this, this gentleman. And sometimes the funny thing, he was bring himself different thing to people. He could bring chair, he could bring motor, he could bring flower, different kind of things to make people more feel beauty. Because in his mind, the photography is, sorry, I don't know. That's another artist from the second generation, who his name is Malik Sidibe, who is also one of the most famous photographer in the African continent. He win a lot of prize, Venice, Gold Lion, etc. So this first generation also, this is also Malik. This series is also become as quite famous. They call a series of Do. This is the kind of studio that we try to duplicate here in Sharjah as well. So, okay, they say most of the photography in Africa come by the country, by western, by ports. So we can say, for example, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, from Togo, from all these countries in the west coast. But I think Andrew is here, will be agree with me. This is one photographer from South Africa also called Sam Photo King. Rachel? Yeah, also because, okay, yeah, sorry. This is, yeah, exactly. I thought, I didn't know that this is the last version of, and Mario is still there also with us? Okay. So this is, yeah, like he said, that is Ricardo Rangel from Mozambique. This is also one of the first great photographers from this part of the continent. So, what is important also to say, for example, I back now to Samuel Fosso from Cameroon. He was also discovered in Bamako. He's a specialist of himself in different portraits. For example, this series that we show is a black pupper, who he put himself as a black pup. And this also, he made this series also was quite important. He was called African Spirit. And he tried to make this different portrait. He put himself as a different leader of African continent. So from the first generation who start now, after the Biennale start to become more success, we have many new generation of photographers who come in Bamako, and they come to set up their own story. So that's the reason, for example, just to let you also have the view of the Biennale, because the Biennale is happen every 2 years. The next coming Biennale we celebrate, it will be in the next November. So it's like an exposure. We have different kind of events. We have the main exhibition, we have portfolio review, we have conferences, we have master's classes, and what else? This is just the view of the National Museum during the Biennale. And so, like I tell you, we'll come little bit to the new generation, and I'm lucky that I have many photographers who are here with me. So the idea, I don't just want to have only the flow. That's the reason I want to call them also to join me on the stage to make the contribution. Because for the first time in this region, I call those artists who are part of the Bamako Dream. They are here, and I want them to come with me to say a few words about the work, and we'll give the floor to the people. I think Nirveda, Mario, Allah, and come join me here. We will share together with people. That's it. So I will give the floor to Nirveda the first. She's from Mauritius. So, from Madagascar. Mauritius, because you look me and you make me impression.
Hi, everybody. I was not prepared to have a talk today to all of you. I am from Mauritius. I am not a photographer. I am an artist. I use photography as a means to record performances, installations, site-specific installations, ephemeral installations, or just ideas that come in my head. I would not define myself as a photographer because I do not master photography as my three friends here. These are professionals. I just do the basics, but I know what I want in photography. And usually I have help of people around me to tell me, like, you know, this is what I need and all that. I've been with Bamako since, I think I learned about Bamako since 2010.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a recipient of the Dakar Biennale, one of the prizes. I was a laureate, and one of my prizes was to have a residency in Bamako. And during that time, I've met Igo, and he was just starting off as a cultural entrepreneur. And that's when I got to know about Bamako Biennale a little bit more, started meeting African artists from the continent and from the diaspora who were all converging there. There's a lot of networks that go, especially in West Africa. And at that time, it was Arterial Network, which eventually became the African Culture Fund at the moment, with the Segu Festival of Art and everything. But the main contention, the main thing that drives us to Bamako is the Bamako Biennale of Photography. Oh, what else do I want to say? I would
Let's
like to
just
pass
a
on
few
to
more.
my friends here. Maybe Mario
From Mozambique.
from Mozambique.
Hi everyone, my name is Mari Maslao. I'm a
Why you
photographer from
put
Mozambique.
back? Come here. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I'm very happy to be here to be able to share the story of my country through photography, and I would like to say thanks a lot to this opportunity to Xposure and also to Mr. Ego. The first time I was selected for the Bamako Biennale, where I had a prize, and it was very great experience for me as from Mozambique, traveling to Bamako, another different country, but from the same continent. So basically, I used to say that I don't talk too much because my work will say a lot of things. So I will give a space to another people. And thanks to everyone who is here. Yes.
Alain, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I have to say thanks to Exposure for bringing work all the way from the far side of Africa, from Bamako. I would just like to add something that Igor did not mention, which is the significance of Bamako Festival in African photography. Art education in Africa, and photography to be specific, is not really accessible. But Bamako Encounters, I think, was an important place for many African photographers because it was a source of knowledge, a place where people meet up. And I think Bamako Encounters was also a starting point for many other festivals and collectives around Africa. I think Addis 41st started as an idea in one of the Bamako Encounters, Nel Institute in Nigeria, and so many others. So the effect of the festival itself outside Bamako, around the continent, and I think in the African art world overall is very huge. So thanks to everyone who make Bamako Encounters happen, and we're glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I first exhibited in Bamako in 1996. I believe it was the second edition of the festival. Like my colleagues have said, Bamako Biennale, I think, is the first platform of any nature in Africa for photography, where different photographers from different countries within the continent converge together to break bread together and share their own life experiences. And also through this platform, we are able to engage one another. We're able to know and learn about each other's country. So for that, we are grateful for this opportunity. Because over the time, through this Biennale, we're able to form this what you call family, and we became family amongst ourselves as photographers, and we became friends as well. But more than that, we're able to have discourse and discussions about our continent and then how we want to our continent to be viewed and how we're contributing to that discourse. And as a result, and that discourse is still ongoing. So we're grateful for that. And I hope that even the younger generation will carry that ideas moving forward. Thank you.
Okay. So like all of them say, the next Biennale, it will be in November. This year, we want to celebrate the 30th anniversary. It's a big challenge, and all of you, you are very welcome in Bamako. So the studio is also here, the Malik Sidibe studio. Feel free to come to take picture. You have a very nice photographer. That's it. So feel free. So for those who want to ask questions, I think the time that we still have is 5 minutes, something like that, or 10 minutes, I don't know. No question? Yeah, online. So people are interested or we are not interested. So that means that we say everything. Yeah, please go ahead. So, okay, sorry.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I just wanted to ask if there's something particular in African photography that you consider very African. Is there any particularity that you can stress, something that separates African photography than anything else?
This is a very nice question. I think I will answer with the colleague who are photographer because this is always problematic question, you know, African photography or photography from Africa. So there are many kind of view, but I think they consider themselves first as an artist, you know, and the artist photography could be from everywhere, but feel free if they want to give some answer about this question as an artist. There are photography from Africa. This is my answer.
I think it's a very complex question. And first of all, because Africa is not a country, Africa is a continent. So the idea of African photography also, it comes from Malik Sidibé, Seydou Keita, what is the other guy? Malik Sidibé, Seydou Keita, like Samuel different, Fosso. That they were like pioneers of the photography in the continent during the struggling periods. So there's nothing very specific that identify the photograph coming from Africa because we have a diverse culture. So, you know, inside of the continent, there's several countries like myself, I don't know, for example, in Nigeria, in Mali, I just went to Mali for the first time, you know, but I can say that we are coming from the same period of struggle. So, I mean, it's not about that, but the way we've been moving forward, if you're comparing to different parts of the world, people have a lot of access to education, and most of artists coming from Africa, they are self-taught, you know? So I don't know if there's something like very common, maybe the storytelling, because we, most of the time, use art or even photography as a means of social intervention. Yeah.
So, yeah, go.
I'll just add up to my colleagues' notes. The short answer is no. But when you think about photography in Africa, the continent is one of the places that have always been photographed by others. And there are so many questions regarding representation and how Africa has been seen. So I think the importance of African photography at this moment is that these are voices and points of view by people who are from the continent. And that's usually, I wouldn't say different, but the personal messages behind photographs that you do while you are very linked with the place or with the people or with the context, that makes it unique. The point of view makes it unique. Thank you.
And also, I think there's no a singular way or no a linear way to answer you. But in terms of what you call the aesthetics, there's a kind of aesthetics that I think that is developing within the continent, and especially within the younger generation. But having said that, this kind of aesthetics that is being developed and nourished within the continent in different countries, that does not necessarily say that that kind of aesthetic is an African aesthetic, but that aesthetic is very popular within Africa. Because I think as artists, as creators within the concept of the arts, we borrow so much from each other. I think even myself, most of the photographers that I come that have a great influence on me, on how I view my photograph or how I see the world, are photographers from the African context. Some of them are American, some of them are European photographers, and some, of course, are African photographers. But in short, yeah, there's no yes or no. You know, it depends where you stand with that particular question. But also, this question is heavily loaded with politics as well, with non-politics element as well, because of the history that we have in this particular world. Thank you.
Maybe that's good. Okay. Yeah.
Very good evening. My name is Abdullah Sabo. I'm a writer. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank the Sharjah Xposure for organizing such a wonderful event like this and giving the Africans the podium to actually tell us their own perspective about African photography. I want to commend the organizers sincerely and to commend also our brothers, photographers from Africa, ably represented by Mr. Igu. Mr. Igu, I want to ask you this question with regards to the forthcoming Bamako triennial photography triennial. To what extent, you know, organizing an event could be, you know, could pose challenges, a lot of challenges. So I want you to tell us, you know, going memory, like what challenges have you faced in trying to actually organize photography events in Africa? And challenges posed for the forthcoming 30 years anniversary of your photography exhibitions in Africa. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have lots of challenges, you know, so I will start to, like here is Bamako Dreams, so, but we are the dreamers. I'm not dream like artists, but I'm trying to dream time to time. And to organize event, we don't need to dream, but because it's reality. So we have almost 7 months, and the big challenge is, unfortunately, sometimes fundraising. So that's, we knock in different door in the world, people to come to join us. So, and also the challenge, of course, to make a great biennale, you know, the quality of curatorial perspective and the selection of the artists, that is very, very, very important, because also to answer the question to the man about African photography, you know, when we make a biennale, the level should be on the top, you know. For example, and because after the exhibition, sometimes we make turn exhibition, we go different places of the world. That's the reason we ask artists to try to make the best proposition as they can, not just, they have to be deep on the work that they present. So if people come, they say, okay, this is the work that we can exhibit in Sao Paulo, in Tokyo, in Ghana, etc., etc. So the challenge is to make the most beautiful, great, and powerful events. So that's our challenge.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you very much. And I hope to see you around Bamako Dream. So feel free to come to continue the discussion. Thank you.